a lot of the residents that are out there, they feel like city government, it tends to go with the elite or big business, and they are not listening to the residents. And
My name is Tristan Wood, senior reporter and host here at WFSU Public Media, and welcome to Candidate Convos, a series of one-on-one chats with candidates for elected office here in Leon County ahead of this year's election cycle. On this episode, I spoke with Tiffany Hill. She's one of several challengers against current Tallahassee City Commission Seat 5 Commissioner Diane Williams-Cox. I spoke with Hill about her background, why she's running for elected office, and her thoughts on some of the most pressing issues facing the city of Tallahassee. So, Tiffany, you're running for the Tallahassee City Commission. Can you talk a little bit about your background and why you think it's prepared you to serve on the commission?
yes, so my name is Tiffany Hill, and I am a retired Army Gulf War veteran, and I am running for Tallahassee City Commission seat 5. And from my experience of being in the military, you have no choices of the positions that you are put in. And so you have to, what they would say, adapt and overcome. And I actually have been in leadership positions in the military and working for Department of Defense and also for the VA. So I know what it takes to be a supervisor or a leader, and being able to handle budgets and um, just managing, employees that are up under you. And, with the government, we have employees that are actually under union. So you have to also know about union laws and things like that. So, yeah, I've been put in numerous positions of leadership and learning about policies and regulations. And also growing up with my father, who is a advocate and being launched into youth programs and different things like that in low income housing. So I'm prepared for this.
Gotcha. Why run now? Why did you decide to file to run this election cycle?
So for me, it was well, my decision came when the Capital City Country Club with the enslaved body. So that gave me a nudge to get into the race because I got sick and tired of being sick and tired of the decisions that um, local government have been making. And as I canvass the city of Tallahassee and speak to numerous residents, they are, the same thing that I've been thinking. It has been resonating with a lot of the residents that are out there. They feel like city government, it tends to go with the elite or big business, and they are not listening to the residents. And so I think that it's important for us to provide a great service, to be accountable for our actions, and to have results that are in the interest of our residents.
Is there any single biggest issue or topic that you're running on that you would like to accomplish if you were elected?
Yes, actually, affordable housing. Well, actually, I take that back. My biggest one is the including people in decisions that are being made in Tallahassee. So that is my biggest issue because I'm hearing a lot of people feel like they're not being included, that they feel like they are an afterthought. And that is something that we don't want people to think of as, a city, as a leader. You don't want people to think of themselves, as we used to say in the military, that I feel like I'm just a number. And I don't want people to feel like they're a number. I want residents to feel like they do have a voice and what they say do matter.
Uh, Talking about numbers for a second,
Mhm.
the 3-2 split at City Hall has dominated headlines for a while. Uh, what do you make of that 3-2 split, and who or what do you think's responsible for it?
Well, I think that the 3-2 split, it has become, I guess, somewhat of a trend. It appears to be like somewhat of a trend that is not a good one. Of course, we know that it is the mayor and, of course, the incumbent that's in my seat and another commissioner that is the three. And then you have the other two commissioners that make up that two. And I think, for me, as I sat watching for, numerous city commission meetings, to me, I could see that who may have researched, some of the programs or topics that have or items that have been bought before them. They're not afraid to like go against the grain, and they are really like giving out like some good points in reference to why they are sitting on the two side. So that's just my thought of it. It's just becoming too much of a like a trendy thing. It's not even. It feels like it's a lot of decisions between the three have been premeditated. Like that's just my opinion.
Gotcha on that. Transitioning away from kind of that 3-2 split for a bit, I want to ask you about
Sure.
some specific trends or larger issues. Something that comes up a lot is this topic of economic growth in the region, right?
Right.
It seems like there's always trending social media posts about it, giving thoughts about it, op eds in the Tallahassee Democrat. Uh, what do you think economic growth in Tallahassee should look like, and how do you think the city should be a partner in that?
Well, I believe that economic growth should look like us really providing opportunities for local businesses. And I mean, when I say local businesses, I mean all local businesses. So assisting them in making a way that it can be how should I put it? Making a way that it can provide livable wages for the citizens, residents here in Tallahassee, so they'll be able to afford to pay people, at a livable wage. Also, I feel like we should bring in some new industry or new businesses that can also provide a livable wages with respect of respecting our environment.
So, how can the city help incentivize and help make that happen?
Well, I mean, the city, we can provide like grants and, like they have like with the CRA and different things like that to um, help businesses, get the funding that they need. And when I say, and I mean for all businesses, because it seemed like over time, as you sit back and watch, it seemed like it was like the same business owner or the same person was always getting grant money, from the city. And so we want to make sure that all businesses, local businesses, have an opportunity to, obtain city funds.
One kind of like sub question of this economic development thing is,
Right.
we have four academic institutions within Leon County, and they train a lot of young people every year. And then, most of those young people go to start their lives, their adult lives,
Mhm.
in other cities and other states. What do you think is the secret? What do you think Tallahassee needs to do to get more to get more young people to want to stay, live, and work in Leon County?
I think we need to have like a transition type program for, especially for those college students that are coming out. For one, we need to start with the high school students when they are coming out of high school. Providing a community wide like transitional type program. So when that senior gets ready, let's say they're 6 months out to come out of high school, we start getting people in there to mentor, to help with that transition to see if they really want to go to college or do they want to go through a trade, and we help guide them through that process, and then encourage a lot of the schools and really do the same for colleges, right? So we'll have that same transitional type program, but we need to be able to see if we can get a lot of the local businesses to do internship programs to where like I know Lively has like great programs. They're always, with their HVACs and different programs like that. They have companies that really like hire the kids like right out of, school. And we need to have more of that locally. So I think that if we have more incentives for local businesses to be able to do that, participate in that transitional program as far as like an internship and permanent hire.
Gotcha, gotcha. Uh, One of the issues that the city commission is dealing with right now is this topic of hiring the new city manager.
Right.
It seems like they're going to hire a new one before whatever this new commission is elected and takes office next year.
Mhm.
Uh, what do you make of the process so far, and what traits are you looking for in a city manager?
Well, the process of them doing it prior to the new city commission leadership, I think for me that I feel like they should have waited. It should be the new people that are bought in because everybody have a different work culture, and so you want to be that new and fresh group of people that you can say, hey, this is what we're looking for, and this is how this is the culture that we're setting, right? So I will be looking for someone who is experienced with being a city manager. I would want someone who will or have been out in the communities. They're not afraid to go out into the communities and actually see what is going on. They are hold themselves accountable. So, and that they are fully transparent and they just really have that experience. It's a lot that goes into when you have some different resumes and you're looking and you're like, okay, is this person here, the right one? Which one outweighs the other? What is going to set, someone apart? So, just going over those guidelines, in talking with your cohorts, the other commissioners, like, what are you looking for? So that we can all get a grips on, who we want to bring in here that would be right for all of us. It's not just about me. I wouldn't be the only one making a decision. So I would definitely want to have the input and see what the other commissioners are thinking and what they're looking for as well.
Understood, understood. One of the first things whoever the city manager is would it might may have to deal with is this property tax ballot issue that's going to be on the ballot in November. Uh, what do you make of that item on the ballot, and how do you think the city should handle it if it is enacted and they have to deal with it?
Okay, so if it is enacted, we would have to look at the budget, first of all. We would have to weigh in um, because some people are gonna I mean, it looks good to not have property taxes, but I don't think a lot of people don't understand like what those taxes go towards. So I think I'm gonna start from right now. I think that there needs to be more education about the property taxes to get people to understand before it gets on the ballot, so they would kind of know what they're really voting on. And if it comes to where they take away the property taxes, not sure if they're going to take it totally away, like everything. But we have to see exactly how it's going to move. But if they do take it away, we do have to look through our budget. We have to make sure that we're transparent and accountable, and look at all the different departments, look at contracts, see if there's stuff that is not functioning, that we may have to cut, and there are, programs like our necessities that we need, emergency services and things like that. We need to make sure that we protect those and also protecting our residents and making sure that they're not gonna suffer a big hit behind this, because I know that if it cuts a lot of the recreational stuff for some people, it's gonna be really hard when they're trying to get their kids into certain recreational programs and stuff. So we have to be, mindful and caution of how we're, making decisions on what to cut and what not. But I think the first thing that we need to start with is the budget, to look at the budget.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Hmm.
Another thing that's going to be on the ballot is this Leon County consolidation question. I know it's not binding on the ballot later this year, but what do
Hmm.
what do you make of that item? What direction do you think voters should go on it?
Well, listening to a lot of residents out in while we've been campaigning, it's mixed feelings. Some people are for just a one municipality, like some other cities, they have their one councilman or councilwoman. Of course, their council is bigger. And so it's like, how would that really look, in joining, the city and the county together? Um, Keeping them separate, they it seems to have worked for Tallahassee right now, but that is something that I believe that we will have to get out in the community and really ask, the community how they feel about it, and then we have to decide how would that look, how would it really look, how many seats are we going to have. It's a big decision. It's not just something that you're just going to be, oh no, we just going to do one, or is it better for us to stay separate?
Gotcha, gotcha. So you're not the only person, or your race isn't the only one that's going to be on the ballot.
Right.
There's two other races involving the Tallahassee City Commission, the mayor's race in seat three.
Yes.
Uh, as you're watching the candidates in those races, are you leaning towards supporting anyone in those races, one or over another? What do you make of those races?
um I think everyone has great potential of being in, those positions, some more than others. I'm not gonna, say that everybody is great, but I feel like, I'm not gonna say, like, I don't have a favorite. I don't want to get into that, conversation of a favorite, because you don't know who's going to be sitting on your right or left, or even if you'll be in there. So I don't want to cause a in a negative environment before I even, get in there, because someone who I thought would be my favorite turns out to not be my favorite, because sometimes people can campaign real good and they can give you all of these juicy nuggets and everything, and they look like, hey, they're going to be a stellar person. But, once they get in there, sometimes people change, and then they're not so much your favorite, or the one that you didn't think was going to be your favorite actually is a pleasure to work with. So and that's something that I just don't want to get into, the who is my favorite, because they're all have potential to be in those seats.
What's the biggest lesson you've learned so far running for elected office?
The biggest lesson that I learned is to run my race, and just keep getting out in the communities, as I always have been in the communities, and speaking and listening to people. I realized that, some people would think, because their name is so big, or I'm the long shot. But at the same time, when you get out there, you learn that there are a lot of people who support you, and you realize that they're really not happy with the city, and some of them don't even want to vote until you go out there and you actually have a face to face conversation with them and let them know that you're you're here for them and you hear their voices and you want to make a difference in the city. It's all about service, accountability, and results.
Gotcha. So, finally, what's your final pitch to voters?
My final pitch is that, I still carry the Army core values with me, and I've served my country, but I've also served the community in some rooms that many probably have not been in. And I am here, I'm a resident just like you, and I understand, a lot of the conversation that is going on today in the city of Tallahassee just by campaigning. So I hear you. I want to be that commissioner that will serve you, that will ensure that the city commission holds themselves accountable, and to ensure that we do our best to give you the results for that working families can appreciate.
Gotcha. Now, finally, you have a longtime friend from out of town who's come to visit on a Saturday that's not an FSU or FAMU game day. What do you take them to see, do, or eat in Leon County while they're here?
Oh my goodness. Let's see. First of all, I'm really family oriented. So pretty sure I would take them to my family. We'll probably have some type of cookout or something, because it's a game day. I usually bring out my projector at my aunt's place and we all hang out. My brother DJs, and it's just a big family event playing games and just dancing. We love to dance. So I think bringing them there, they can eat, they can feel safe, and they get to meet some really cool people.
Gotcha, gotcha. Thank you so much for the time. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate this opportunity. Thank you.